64 million years ago, a large extraterrestrial object struck the Earth in what would later be called the Yucatan Peninsula, in southeastern Mexico. The dust and rock thrown up by the resulting explosion caused enormous climatic changes in the ensuing years, and many of the Earth's species became extinct during the long winter that followed. The object itself was buried thousands of feet below ground, its nearly 2-kilometer length remarkably intact. It remained there, motionless, for thousands of years before it finally began to stir, and to dream. It was a member of a race whose history began when the Milky Way was still a formless collection of dust and gas. A powerful race of immortals which had quickly grown bored of their tiny universe and nearly exterminated themselves in war. This particular being, whose name no human throat will ever learn to pronounce, was part of the cataclysmic battle that formed Magellanic Clouds, billions of years ago. It died there, or it came as close to dying as these things can, and drifted aimlessly for millions of light years, before striking the Earth. The heat of impact liquefied the rock around it, which later cooled and encased the dead god's huge body far below ground. As it began to dream, it wrought unintentional changes in its environment. Locked deep beneath the Earth, strange and unbelievable things faded in and out of reality. Vast caverns and landscapes bubbled to life within the rock, populated by horrible manifestations of the dead god's dream. Only during the last few centuries has the god begun to effect changes on the surface of the Earth. Grotesque creatures have been sighted deep in the trackless forest of the Yucatan, and strange rumors of an ancient pyramid, which is neither Aztec nor Mayan, in the same area, have been circulating in the archaeological community since the early 1930s. The god is awakening. The alien projection appeared in the early spring of 1994, flickering suddenly into existence deep within the Pentagon in Washington, D.C. The hologram of the Gero diplomat interrupted, quite deliberately, an important briefing of the president by his senior military staff. It told them they had 8 days to save the world. No one outside the 6 men present that day knows exactly what was said in the hours that followed, only that a special forces team, armed to the teeth, was immediately afterwards ordered to paradrop near the site of an ancient asteroid impact in the Yucatan Peninsula. Though the god can never be killed, the projection of the Gero dignitary told us here on Earth that if we acted quickly we could prevent it from awakening. To do this, however, someone was going to have to carry a low-yield nuclear device down to the god's body and detonate it there. This would not only stun the dreaming god, but further bury it under millions of tons of rock. The Gero claimed to have made an extensive survey of the Earth's technology, and maintain that this is the only way. More permanent measures will be taken by the aliens themselves, who are already on their way, when they arrive in 2.5 Earth years. The aliens have provided us with a great deal of intelligence on the strange pyramid in the Yucatan, and the catacombs below it. This information has been compiled into this briefing, and has been presented to you and every other member of the assault team. Good luck. Ryutath, the Gero representative, appeared via hologram in the Pentagon at 1500 hours, 3 p.m., on Thursday, May 5, 1994. You and the rest of the assault team will be dropped from AC-151 transport over the Yucatan shortly after 0200, 2 a.m., on Sunday, May 8th. This leaves 5 days before the dreaming god awakes, sometime in the afternoon on the following Friday. In addition to weapons and ammunition, your squad of 8 men will carry a small, low-yield nuclear device, and 3 radio beacons. The bomb must be placed at the lowest point you are able to descend into the god's tunnels. Detonation can be delayed as long as 48 hours by the bomb's timer, but should under no circumstances occur after 1400, 2 p.m., on Friday. Upon returning to the surface, triggering any one of the radio beacons will signal the extraction team to pick you up. 10 minutes are required from the time the extraction signal is given, to the time the helicopters arrive at the pyramid. Allow an additional 10 minutes for the helicopters to reach minimum safe distance from the explosion of the nuclear device you have been given. Unfortunately, things don't go quite as planned. During the jump from the C-151, your primary parachute fails, and you are able to pull the reserve only moments before crashing through the forest canopy toward the ground. 2 hours later you awake, unharmed except for a few bruises, to realize that most of your equipment is missing or damaged. Fortunately, someone else jumped with the nuclear device. The muzzle of your M16 is bent just enough to render it useless, and the bag of spare clips for your Colt 45 is lost in the deep jungle underbrush. About the only things which didn't break were your flashlight and survival knife. You finally reached the pyramid by foot, at a little after 0600, 6 a.m. The rest of your team must have entered nearly 4 hours ago. Armed only with a knife, and the intel from this briefing, you follow them.